Hello and welcome to another Industry Insights podcast with me, Chris Nelson. My guest today is Director of Triad Ltd, a company that she's now worked for over 23 years, which for anyone's standards, it's a sturdy amount of time to grace anybody's company with. She's well known in the promotional industry and is much loved for her charismatic and positive personality. Nicki Juggins, just a very warm welcome to the Industry Insights podcast.
And, thanks, Chris. Great to be speaking to you.
No, not a problem at all. Yeah, thank you. No, really appreciate your time. I know you're probably, if anything like us, a bit manic. In fact, on that note, Nicki, I don't know, just to get a snippet of the industry, how is business at the minute? You finding things?
It's absolutely crazy. And I think it's compounded by, obviously, there's a lot of stock that's struggling to get into the UK. I think there's been a lot of price increases in moving things around. So it is manic. And I think that is compounded too by the fact that we've seen lots of smaller orders. So the physical number of orders has increased, but the value of orders has probably decreased. So we feel kind of working twice as hard to bring in the revenue at the moment. But I guess just from speaking to other peers in the industry, that most people are in the same boat. I mean, it's great when you get those chunky orders coming through, but we've got to take it as it is at the moment. But it's heading in the right direction. I mean, rather this than the 3 months I spent last year just hammering the phones and trying to speak to people and basically.
I thought you were going to say hammering the alcohol. I was like, that's no, yeah.
Well, yeah, hammering the alcohol, flash the phones. So rather this, I'd rather be busy. But...
No, 100%. Yeah, and if it helps, by the way, I mean, I'd like to think being a generalist supplier and obviously of a group of a few different divisions, we get quite a good overview of the industry, and you're certainly not alone in what you're seeing, and we're the same as well. We're seeing a lot of small orders, and I don't know if it's just us, but it feels like nothing, and this has been since the beginning of 2021, nothing we are dealing with is in any way straightforward. There is always something that's just a little bit of a difference to normal, or something to do with freight, or certification. Everything is just all a bit crazy at the minute. Brexit's not helped anything.
Not at all. I think we're all on a massive learning curve at the moment, because no matter how prepared you try and be, we've all had to learn. And I think, like I say, the costs have risen, the cost in shipping and bringing things into the UK and getting things out of the UK, and the VAT restrictions around that. And then, customers are wondering, even though they knew Brexit was coming, they're wondering why all of a sudden they've got to pay duties when the goods are landed in Europe.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It is a learning curve. But do you know what? I think the industry's been through worse than this before, maybe in the recession 2008, 2009. That was a bad time for the industry. So we'll come through it. It's just it's kind of fight fire at the moment, but it'll settle down. So yeah,
hopefully so. Well, I don't know if, like I say, you've obviously, this is the first time this podcast has ever been done. So just from my perspective, just give you a background of why we've got you on, for all the reasons that, obviously, compliment they're charismatic and positive. There we go. No, but it generally is. And it's someone, like I say, by a lot of people in the industry. And I thought you were just like a perfect person to get on to, as we say, give a bit of an insight into Triad, but also your experience in the industry. But before we actually got to that, I wanted to really just learn a little bit. And I know we spoke a few times and we had a good few nights out and things like that, but I just wanted to get a little bit more understanding of obviously your background and where you came from. So if you don't, I mean, a little look, it's just a bit weird, isn't it? Like research these days, I'm basically just LinkedIn stalking you or Facebook stalking you, but that's just, I'd like to say I had some undercover reporters or something, that'd be weird. So
don't we all though? I mean, I think LinkedIn's great just for finding marketing contacts and seeing where my contacts have gone to.
Yeah, but wait a minute, are you a secret LinkedIn person to look, or do you let them know that you've looked?
Oh, I let them know.
Yeah. I let them know as well. Yeah. I'm like, I was on your profile today. What about
I'm trying to find you.
I saw back to the dizzying days of Biddulph High School. Is that right? Is that where you were?
Biddulph High School. Yes, I left
in the making.
Yeah. That's where they make all the stars. So I left high school in 1997, having finished my A levels, and I kind of always knew what I wanted to do. So whilst I was quite academic and academia was important to me, and most of my friends and my peers were kind of going off to university, they seemed to be going to do specialised things like teaching, and I just knew that I wanted to kind of be paid to talk all day. So
did you actually, by the way, did you think, do you know what, I am just chatty as anything and I've got to land myself a role which requires that, basically?
Yeah, because I knew I'd be no good in a job where I had to sit and do the same thing day in, day out. That's not for me. I knew I'd be good in a kind of studious office. That wouldn't suit me at all. So what I went out and did was have a look for some marketing stroke sales jobs. And whilst I was applying, I ended up finding a job with an insurance company based in Wilmslow within their pensions department. And it was just a great thing that on my 9th day of employment, before I drove the pensions manager mad and drove myself mad, that I was offered a marketing job for an electronic components distributor. So
what was you say? That was 9 days in?
9 days in, yeah.
Right, fair play. Sturdy career, that
and
one.
I was trying to work out people's return on the pensions, and it was quite a quiet job, just not for me.
Yeah.
So I was offered this job for an electronic components distributor in their marketing department, and that was absolutely great. But 7 months into my role there, they were bought out by a huge American organisation. So obviously I found myself redundant. So looking through the local papers, because that's how you did it in the good old days, and saw a job advertised for Triad for a sales executive. So I rang Barbara, who obviously began Triad in 1983, and had a chat with her. And she basically said to me, well, look, I virtually found somebody. You're really late, but if you want to, you can come in and see me. So I went in to see her for the first time, and we had a good chat. And then she said, well, you might as well come back and see one of the other ladies, which I did. So I went back for the second time. And she said, okay, I'm not really decided between you and the other candidate. So I'll let you know tomorrow. Well, tomorrow was Friday. So it got to 10:15 on Friday. And I rang her because I'd heard from her and just said, you said you'd let me know on Friday. She said, I've literally just got into the office. It's 10:15. I'm waiting. So she said, right, I'll call you back. And within 10 minutes...
And then she was desperate to get that other guy right. She was ringing him left, right and centre, yeah.
Within 10 minutes, she rang me back and she said, you know what? If you're this keen, you might as well just come in on Monday and we'll see how we go. So I said, great. Oh, and that was that.
Wow. Okay, so that was 1998.
1st of June 1998. So really, I should have had 6 Rolexes on Tuesday for serving 23 years. But
just have a quick word.
That's Barbara moaning in the background, by the way.
All right. Okay. So yeah, cool. So yeah. So after leaving school, you'd had basically two jobs, and then straight into Triad. Really.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Wow. That is.
Yeah. Well, it was bizarre because in those days, not everybody even had a computer. So there was 2 admin ladies that lived on the ground floor, because at that time we were in a 3-story Georgian terrace house. So there was 2 admin ladies on the ground floor. They had computers. The design department and the accounts department were on the middle floor. They had computers. And then on the top floor was where Barbara was in her own little office, and then the sales team. But they didn't have computers. So actually when I started, there was a row of filing cabinets with paper in. And my job was to go through those filing cabinets and ring all those people on those bits of paper, because when I started at Triad, we still only supplied corporate ties and scarves.
Well, I was actually just sorry to interrupt you on that, Nicki. I was going to ask you on that. So obviously, just for people who don't know Triad Limited, it was previously Triad Trade Textiles. Just to get a little bit of background on that, 1983 it started. And how did Barbara start? Why did Barbara start? What was her background, and how did Triad get off the floor?
Yeah, no problem. So Barbara had a background in weaving, and she'd moved to Congleton from Greater Manchester, and she was looking for something to do. And really, she'd hit on hard times because she'd been made redundant. So, I mean, she tells a great story about having to make a choice between buying a loaf of bread and a tin of cat food.
Oh, God.
In 1983, it was under Maggie Thatcher's enterprise scheme that Barbara actually began Triad from a back bedroom. So she, obviously, in much the same way as I did when I joined her later, just was targeting businesses, ringing to see if they wanted to buy any branded ties and scarves. And she actually had a really, really successful first year. So within 2 years, she moved from her back bedroom, rented some premises in Congleton. Then shortly after that, she bought the Georgian terraced house. And then in 2002, she sold that and we moved to the offices we're in now, which are...
Were the ties and scarves, were they branded, by the way, or were they just like...
Yeah,
they were branded.
So they were branded. So, I mean, in the good old days, I can remember when I first started and the orders used to come through by fax. You just used to curl over because we held the contracts for McDonald's in the UK and Holland.
Oh, wow.
Welcome break services. So, I mean, McDonald's would order 100,000 ties at a time.
That's unreal. Wow. Good on Barbara getting hold of that. That's
it was crazy. But about the year 2000, because ties and scarves have always kind of gone in cycles. So in the year 2000, people were taking a much more relaxed approach to what they were wearing to work. So, they were kind of coming in branded polo shirts or open neck shirts. So we had to find another string to our bow. And one of the first calls that came in was, I don't want to buy ties and scarves, but do you do lanyards? So Barbara said, yeah, of course we do. Put the phone down and went, what's a lanyard?
Do you know what? I was speaking about this in my last podcast, my first podcast, and it literally is so true, that, isn't it? Of course, of course we can do that, and then find out how you can after it.
Exactly. So we basically had to build our supplier base from scratch, and through, I don't know whether it was luck or judgment, we won some nice contracts. And one of the very first big orders we had included pens, mugs, cardboard presentation tubes, lanyards, and A3 desk pads. So when these things arrived, I mean, we were still in that Georgian terrace house. We'd not even considered the logistics. So when the pads arrived, they were all on pallets. There was no way we were going to get them through the front door. So my job that day was to sit on top of these pallets, covered in polythene, to make sure no dogs weed up them.
To be fair, that sounds like the sort of jobs that I've heard people doing during COVID. How you've heard about every director up and down the country. You'll feel like, that they're up a ladder in a warehouse, or they're doing, because it's just, I feel like you have to almost do every type of job, but you've like gone back in some respect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that is I've done a bit of that in COVID as well.
Yeah, it's mad.
Things, packing things on the drive and man packs of safety and PPE, but. So that's how Triad was started, and it's just progressed naturally. And since 2000, it's just grown and grown and grown to now.
Right. Okay. Cool. And you, I think, what was it? When you made director in 2006? Is that right?
2006. Yeah, when I was 27.
Right. Okay. And how many people were in the company at that stage? Was it?
Wow. There was probably a similar number to we've got now. So probably about 8 people. 8
people. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And was that when that happened? Was it sort of like, because when you came on board with the company originally, how many were in the company then? Was it similar then, or was it different?
So there'd only been 3 people when I came in 1998, and there was myself and an admin lady that started on the same day. So 3 became 5.
Yeah.
And obviously it grew again from there. And it's always been swings and roundabouts. I mean, at times we've had 12, at times we've had 6. It just depends how it goes and where people are up to.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And when you became director, did you sort of like take that, and it was sort of natural fit anyway, because you've been in the company for a good while, you'd been there since 3 members of staff, and it just sort of, you knew the business inside out. Mad for it.
I was only 27, and it was the passion that I've got for the business today is the same that I've had all the way through. So this business is absolutely one of my priorities. It always has been. And I just love the buzz of speaking to people. I love the buzz of cutting a deal, negotiating with suppliers. And I think it's just a great industry to be in. So, I mean, that day in 2006 was a mega day, but actually wasn't expecting it. Barbara and I had gone out to have a chat about, what I was doing and how the business was doing, and came away, and that's how it ended up. So, I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think you just mentioned the word then, passion. I mean, I think in any job, if you've not got, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's loads of roles out there. If you just you've got loads of other things on in your life, and you just need to fit into that and just do your job and go home, that's absolutely fine. And that is completely, but I think for you to really, succeed, and, your longevity of how long you've been there, and, your energy, I think it does show that, and it does help you, I think, massively to progress. If you've got that passion and you continue to have that passion, keep rethinking of different ways of doing things and everything. I think that's massively important.
Definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've all got days where we think, oh, I'd like to lie in bed today, or I'd like to go and sit in the garden today. But I never get to a Sunday night and think, oh, it's Monday tomorrow.
Yeah, no, and I have felt like that as well. I know that feeling and know the difference. And I think it's actually been important for me. I think for me to know the difference, because I think on the days when you do feel a bit like, oh, I really can't bother today, you also remind yourself that no, there was a time I really couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I really didn't want to, and I was really
didn't want to. Sorry, yeah, that's more important. Yeah, so
no, I mean, I'm I still love it. I love it every day. And, you know, some days you have busy, more stressful days, and other days you get a chance to sit back with your team and just have a bit more of a laugh and be more sociable. But it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? At the end of the day, we're here to, the aim of the game is for us to perform and make a profit, the same as it is for everybody. But as long as we can do that while we're having fun and making it as pleasurable as an experience as we can for everybody, that suits me.
And have a pint at the end, just somewhere, or in the middle somewhere as well. Your breakfast on your cereal.
Yeah.
That depends on the day as well, to be fair.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned obviously about you said about, you know, some days tiredness and things like that, and I know obviously you've got children, and I've got now a 5-year-old going on 6 and a just turned 1-year-old. So I've certainly felt, honestly, at the recent sort of since the beginning of 2021, I don't think I've ever felt as tired in my life. So I do know that. But obviously, again, you got 2 children as well. And I was going to ask you on that, to be honest, in terms of like tiredness, balancing, you know, being director of Triad. Do you think you succeed at that in terms of like the work-life balance, getting it right, or, you know, do you?
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, yes. So, I mean, my motto is for the children, I'm always in early. So I'm in early every morning, but that gives me a bit of quiet time before anybody comes in, where I can look through my emails, sort through anything that I need to look at. If there's something that I've not managed to quite get my head around the day before, then I can just take some time and be ready, because I like to be as prepared as I can be. So my thing is always that, I mean, the girls know I'm always in early every day, but at 5 o'clock, as much as possible, I'm going to leave, because the kids have been in, you know, after school club or nursery for long enough.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of.
Do you know what? That must be, just on that point alone, because we mentioned it again in another episode, and I spoke about recently, that whole thing about coming in early. I mean, I think some people, especially early on in the career, are like, I'm not coming in early. You know, I do enough as it is. But that coming in early, for me personally, because I get a bit all over the place, you know, doing things like this in the middle of the day and whatever else, and just general organisation, organising meetings and whatever else, it can get a little bit on top of you. And I think, like you said, that breathing time in the beginning of the morning, especially when your head's fresh as well, it allows you then to. We went through it with Neil, and he was sort of saying to me, like, we worked out my things that I need to work on, and just hearing you reinforce that, and another person reinforce it, and whatever else, I think it is really setting the tone for me, that like just coming in that little bit early, you know, quite even half an hour early, whatever, you can really just, as you say, get your head around the things you couldn't the day before, and I think that then, as you say, gets a knock-on effect to how the rest of your day pans out as well, and I think that's important for anyone who's struggling with organisation, I think.
Definitely, because I think for me, I mean, I think it's quite a personal subject, isn't it? You know, how you organise your own day, how you organise your own time. Everybody does it differently. Everybody's got their own kind of well-being tricks. But for me, if I feel I start properly, I can manage whatever comes up in the day more easily. So yeah, I feel if I'm starting with my best foot forward, then the rest of the day will just flow.
Yeah.
You know, come on then. And it's not always easy. You know, I don't always get to walk out at 5 o'clock. There might be a call that I need to make, or I might need to hang back and do something, which is fine. But generally, that's what I try and do. And it fits with our lifestyle as well, because the kids are 9 and 3. So, I mean, Oscar would lie in bed longer now, but Piper's up with the larks. So we might as well just get up and get teeth cleaned, get ready.
Yeah. That 9 and 3, Barry, that's mad. I remember, like, when obviously we just had 1, and now, that is crazy. You only said that then, I just realised, but time is literally flying.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So it just suits us to do it that way. You know, and it suits the girls, and they kind of they work with me as well. So if they want to come in a little bit later, and then there's something that we'll need doing after 5 o'clock, we'll work together. So they'll stay and do that for me and keep in contact, or we just try and work it as best we can.
Yeah, and just keep it as fair as possible for everyone.
And the nice thing about it is, for me, again, this is quite a personal point of view, is we're not ruled by establishment. We're not a big corporate company. We can make those decisions. We can flow with it. So that's great for me.
Yeah, so that works for your whole office dynamic and everything. Yeah. Well, actually, I was going to touch on this actually in the whole in the way that Triad set up and everything. Did you guys? I remember, obviously, I think I spoke to you when you were obviously working from home and things like that. How long have you been back in the office? Has it been?
So we came back in January. Obviously, did that first day, but because most of us have got children, on that first day in January, when Boris said that the children couldn't go to school, we then all went back home.
Yeah.
My parents are a huge support to me, and my mum in particular. So what we did then is we just divided up the days. So there's only ever one person in the actual office on any given day, just because we were still getting deliveries turning up. There were still things that needed to be done here. So even though we could work remotely with the phones and the laptops and whatever, it was quite good to have one person here. So 2 days a week I was in, a day and a half Joy was in, a day and a half Barbara was in. The rest of the girls were furloughed at the time. Got through it as best we could. And then we came back, was it March the 8th when the kids went back to school? And we all came back then and gradually brought people back from furlough. So we're back up to a full team now.
But I think that's good. I mean, the fact that you just said it then, the way that you've worked with the dynamics of your team, the way you've been able to say, look, it probably work best for you if you can cover that little part of the day and I'll do this here and stuff like that. I think it works really well, because it is a hard one. I know you see loads of debates online about, working from home or working from the office and which is the right one and whatever else. I think it's not as simple as that. I think you've got to take it with the type of company that you are, the circumstances that are around you, what's possible. You could be in a 3-man team and it just in a really tiny office might not be possible. You could be in a really large establishment where they have set rules and made, so there's I don't think there's a set rule for that, but I know there's some big debates going off online on LinkedIn and things about that. But we just made it work the way that it's worked for us. And it's, we didn't all jump straight back in. We had some people out the office and then gradually got people in. And
it was just trying to work it around everybody and obviously taking into consideration those who had got children and what they needed to do and where they needed to be. And we were really lucky actually that everybody just pulled together. And I think it's testament to the team as well, because every single member of the team, whether they were furloughed or not furloughed, was right behind us. So they went with the flow as well, and they supported us, and we kept them in the loop. So it was a great reciprocal relationship, really, because at the end of the day, if you don't look after your team and invest in your team, then you haven't really got a business, or you have got a business, but you're going to end up doing everything.
That'd be a good one.
True.
And just I think I know the answers already, but which do you prefer, by working from home or in the office?
Office with a capital O for.
I'm just, you know what? It is so strange because, like, don't be wrong. I think I could maybe every now and again. I need to just crack on at home in the morning. It doesn't happen, but I do it in some mornings. But the office is just it offers. I certainly laugh more in the office. That's a
definitely
again for talking about mental health. That's obviously a big one at the minute, and I think even just sharing ideas, you don't realise until you're working from home for a long time when you return to the office and you're like. Or even actually, in fact, no. So even when you're still at home, you don't realise. I'll be like, I need to ask Neil. Yes, I'll build up a question because I don't remember him every 10 seconds. But in the office, shout over or whatever else. It's so.
And I found it just wasn't as productive because I couldn't just ask somebody. So literally, like you say, I'd pick up the phone, ask a question, put the phone down, and then think, I need to ask that. So then back on the phone again. We've had a day of just ringing each other.
That's it. And I think in case anyone's thinking that I'm having to go with people who prefer to work home, that is not the case at all. I'm thinking for my particular role and our particular work environment, it just seems to work. I mean, I'm sure there's so many, digital marketing agencies or loads of things that where they can, as long as they have a Zoom every day or something, they can make it work. But I think for us in a hustly bustly sharing ideas environment, it's better. It is for us basically. So.
Definitely. And I think it just suits my personality better to be around people in every sense. So I'd always rather have a house full of people as well.
Yeah. A bit like that.
Quiet.
So we've always been like that as a family, I think, it's always someone around somewhere. But,
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it just suits me better. Plus the fact, when I was at home, I was trying to persuade Oscar to do his online lessons and get off his Xbox. I was ringing people she shouldn't have been ringing, pressing buttons on the laptop she shouldn't have been pressing. Coming back to work was just great.
Well, this is it. Yeah, people just don't realise the pressures that the whole homeschooling versus trying to work. And I don't know how, like people like yourself, I just don't know how. I mean, you mentioned you had that bits of support there from, you said, things like that, but it's for people who didn't, it must have been so.
I don't know. I don't know
hard.
how they did it.
I don't think they did. I don't think you could physically do a job at 100%. And apparently homeschooling, which you were supposed to do at 100%. So I don't think it's possible.
You couldn't. Yeah, I mean, there just weren't enough hours in the day. And also, your relationships, you're chopping and changing your relationships with your children, because when they see you in their home setting, they expect you to be mummy or daddy. They don't expect you to keep disappearing upstairs every 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why you can't do Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to work, so I'm asking everybody to be quiet. But then the next minute, I'm trying to usher Oscar onto his Zoom lesson, and he's saying, "But you're not a teacher, mummy." Yeah,
I've heard that so many times. Yeah. The whole "you're not a teacher," or just the idea that they're not respecting you as a teacher, and it's. I think
or in my case, we don't do it like that anymore. Well. 1985.
Yeah. Wow. Come on. Catch up. That was the best.
I don't know how to teach you. I can teach you my way, but I don't know how to teach you your way.
Yeah, I found this recently because I'm teaching Grace, my 5-year-old, I think nearly 6, and the amount of times I'm thinking that is a great way of learning. I'll teach that. And as soon as I start reading her sheets, I'm going, yeah, no, probably stick to that. To be fair,
we'll probably just do what you teach.
It doesn't make sense to me, but I can see how that would make sense to you. So yeah. That's just a bit like spelling cat and dog.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned the office and working in an office environment. Am I right in thinking, Nicki, since almost the beginning of time at Triad, you've had like a female office? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, for no other reason than that's just kind of how it worked out. So we have had boys over the years, but it's just worked out that it's been mainly female, but we have got a new boy.
I believe, yes. Yeah.
James. So we've got our James. He's joined us on the Kickstart scheme. And he's an area that we've always neglected, just because I think we've been probably too time poor to do it, is our social media and digital marketing. So James has come in to look at that. And he's obviously, in the first instance, he's coming in for 6 months on this Kickstart scheme,
and then he'll go for like 6 months worth of counselling, I'm guessing, after that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I actually think he loves it. He gets really looked after. So all day, James, do you want a coffee, James? And either that, or he's sitting up the corner thinking, God's sake.
I was going to say, you think Lovett, he thinks the peck in my head.
Just let it be time.
No, I'm sure I'd love to work in the Triad office, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Chicken, get on board. Come on down.
You have enough for me when I come and visit, to be honest. That's I'm sure we get sidetracked too easily, I'm sure.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, I'm just going to say, it's a bit of a strange question, but do you think there's been any particular, the whole having an all-female office, do you think there's any particular dynamic that has supported the growth of Triad and success of Triad in the past, or do you think it's not really relevant? I don't know. I was just curious.
I don't know if it's relevant. I think I've only ever known it this way. So maybe with more of a male presence, it might change the dynamic. We might be more successful. I just don't know.
I think
it's not been a conscious decision. It's just the way things have worked out. So all for inclusivity and let's try new things. And and if we get a great male candidate walk through the door, let's run with it. At the end of the day, as long as we're all rowing in the same direction.
I think it's the same. It's like you said. I think sometimes it's just the way things land. We had a meeting the other day, and it was to buying and bringing in products. And it was only like halfway through the meeting, I started looking around and I thought, there's 6 guys here of not too dissimilar age, all making decisions. Maybe we should have a bit of diversity or whatever. But you don't. It's just the way that meeting landed, and it's particular skill sets that have just landed wherever they've been. And I don't think there's a massive, massive difference really. So okay, I was just interested in that one. So a few times, just as we were chatting before, we mentioned about getting up early and the effects on various things with you mentioned mental health, things like that. I've just seen, again, just through my stalking, basically, I mean researching, I've seen no, obviously on different things you posted about fitness and things like that as well. Is that something you have you always been sort of like trying to keep yourself healthy?
Do you know what? No, I'm not a naturally sporty person, but I think my group of friends and the peers that I hang out with at home, we all see, as we're getting older, I think we've all hit this realization that we actually need to start looking after ourselves, and it helps that we've got one of our closest friends. In fact, one of my best friends since we were 4, we went all the way through school together, is actually a trained PT. So she's kind of got us all moving. So every morning, before my husband, because my husband leaves for work at 6, so I try and get out at 5 in the morning and go for a walk, whatever the weather.
Wow. Every morning?
Yeah. Well, weekends are a bit later,
but you still do it on the weekends, though?
Yeah.
Oh, flipping
and then I do a fitness class with my friend who's the PT twice a week. Done some open water swimming with one of my other friends. Yeah,
to be honest, I wanted to ask you specifically about the open water swimming.
Did you?
What was it? Is this like in a lake, I'm guessing, or is it?
Yeah. So it's in a lake in Holmes Chapel, and it was cold.
Oh, in Holmes Chapel, don't they do triathlons in there as well?
Yeah.
I've seen it advertised a while back.
Yeah, so, but I went with one of my friends and she said, right, well, as we were driving there, Mick said to me, Nicki, you are aware that you've done no research on this. You've not practiced anything. You've got a tow float that they tell you to bring. I was just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to do it. So as we got there, met my friend and she said, right, 10, we're just going to walk into this lake. So what we did. And for the first hour,
cold thinking about it.
I was literally like.
When was this, by the way? What time of year was this?
It was about 6 weeks ago, but it was the water was 12 degrees, so it took breath away. But I was thinking, just swim. It was a real mind over matter moment, but it was fantastic. And when I came out, I just loved it.
Liberating.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing I'm trying to do now, I don't know why I'm trying to try all these things out, because I run like Phoebe from Friends. About
I'm all over the place.
But now one night a week I'm running with one of my friends who's run marathons. She's trying to teach me to run, which is just hilarious.
I know it's weird. I never think of teaching to run. You just like one leg in front of the other, but there is obviously the technique and how you go on your heel and
Yeah. So we're giving that a whirl at the moment. So watch this space. We'll see.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I'm going to be like super.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it sounds like you're on the right track. Getting up in the morning and doing all that. That's the problem. I just wish I started at the beginning of the year just saying, right, I'll get up early. And you know what? I'm sure there'll be a different point in my life where I feel less tired, and I'll be able to tackle it and get back on track with it. But I need to be electrocuted out of bed, to be honest. That's what I could do with just like. Just start. I just feel so tired in the morning. I don't even go to bed too late, maybe. So maybe that's where I'm getting things wrong.
I'm murder though. So if we're watching something and I'll say, I'll just go and get the blanket, and then that's it. That's like the kiss of death.
Well, this is it. I think when you get to a certain age, for me, I'm thinking,
all right, Tiger.
Me, not you. We have to choose either one side of the day or the other. I can't be staying up till like, I don't know, 12 or 1 o'clock and then get up at 5. You're not going to.
That'd give me palpitations. That still being awake at 12 on a school night.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know why I did a 1:15 last night. That wasn't good at all. So you just like flicking and you think, why am I still not asleep? So But and one question on the open water, by the way. Do you know when you get in, obviously the coldness of it, have you got is it like all the squelchy stuff underneath your feet as well? Or was it more rocks and things?
To be honest, it was that cold, I couldn't even think about it.
Yeah, you don't know what was on your feet.
No, and then as we were swimming, my friend just said to me, look, as we go around this corner, you might just feel something touch your feet or touch your legs. It's just pondweed.
That's the bit that freaks me out. I mean, don't know, I've done it loads of times, but when you feel and the occasional fish just.
I didn't even have time to think about that. I was just in and gone.
That's what I'd see. I'd like to do the channel across it. I'd love to do that. And then I think someone told me like halfway through, you just like there's like so many jellyfish and all this, and I was like, maybe not. Yeah. I'll do it in a boat.
Yeah.
Just the same.
I'll just watch.
Yeah, I'll run around the boat or something, so I feel like I've done the exercise across the channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, not quite the same, but
No.
Yeah. On that, by the way, you on your fitness and things like, I did see you posted the whole thing about the 21,000 steps that you've done on the.
Literally, who walks 9 miles within their own office walls in a day? Who
is that? What it was, by the way? That is crazy. Wow.
It was ridiculous. I mean, it was great though. I mean, if you'd have asked me on the day if it was great, I think we'd have all just gone, oh.
Yeah.
It was a big.
When you look at it and you're like, oh my God, how have I managed to do that many?
I know, but then I got really competitive with myself. So once it got to a certain number, I was like, right, keep walking.
I've been the most ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think? Sorry.
Go on.
No, I was just going to ask you. You obviously you were in the middle of doing that, right? You were doing a fulfillment job.
Yeah.
And can I ask you on that? Have you always got involved in fulfillment exercises, or is it no? So you haven't. So has that increased over the last 12 months or?
Yeah, definitely. This is another one of our learning curves. So
you and me both.
Particular one, yeah. This particular one was 24,000 items that had to go into little individual bags. But you know what? For a company that hasn't been involved in fulfillment before, and actually that is a job that we normally would have farmed out, but because of the times that we're in and everybody's quite protective and people probably haven't got the money to spend, so we needed to keep it within budget. We said, you know what, we'll fulfill it ourselves. We'll pack it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we did actually get quite a rhythm going, and the team were brilliant, you know, and we just kept going and going and going and going and going until we'd done it. So shifting and, you know, swearing and but we got there in the end. And it's like anything. So on that day, we said, oh, we'll never do this again. And then the following week, you know, we're quite
there again.
Yeah. So
no, this is it. No, we I think I first started looking at around about like October time last year and thinking like, you know, I'm seeing a few things and we really need to look into this, and started looking at different things. But who'd have thought, considering we do all these products, they're all we print in-house everything, who'd have thought putting those things into a box would be that confusing and that crazy? And I honestly, I think the January in particular, when I was really trying to push forward, because we had to make sure it was all in place before we printed our catalogs and things.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking like, this is the most stressful thing ever. I don't really know why. And to be fair, I think one of the difficulties is the fact that you think just put them in a box, but when you've got loads of different items, they've all got their own volumetric size and that, and someone's saying, well, how many can you even fit in that? And is that the right size for that? And you don't want to go on TP because, well, that size even fit in that courier service. It's just, it was an absolute minefield. And then trying to get it all into a system that was, well, my manager Nick's kindly helped us, and we have like all spreadsheets, all formulas and whatever else. But it's been interesting. But do you think, we were talking about this the other day, do you think the fulfillment side of things it'll maintain, or do you feel like it'll fizzle out? Or
I don't know, because I think it's like anything, isn't it? So as we're kind of hopefully coming out the right side of COVID now, and people are saying, well, that's it, these people will never go into the office again, these people will always work in this way. Is that so? Will it be that way? I'm not 100% convinced. I think as human beings, we forget really quickly.
And we're creatures of habit as well. I think we fall back into those habits. Yeah.
Of course we are. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are some businesses, I guess, that, you know, feel that they might work more efficiently, remotely. And obviously there's big cost savings to be made there. But I'm not convinced. I mean, let's see what happens. But certainly in the interim period, while we've got people working from home, there's a lot of orders going out to different addresses, and, you know, where it would have just been one UK drop before, it might be 40 drops. Yeah. So
it's what we found when we were leading into Christmas, when we were trying to get different boxes and whatever else. And I don't know if you know this or heard this, but the box industry,
national shortage of cardboard.
They are in an absolute mess.
Yeah.
And like, they just can't maintain it. They said like the prices go through the roof, and and people like us that are getting into it and doing all this thing. Yes, it's a bit of a mad one. But my positive on it is that, I mean, it's a little bit like what we said before about COVID. It's obviously been tough, and you know, no one's enjoyed it. But I think the silver line is that we've all to find different ways of doing things. And even if you don't do it again, it was a learning curve anyway about how, if you ever needed to do it again, or maybe a different way of thinking about how you can attack a task. So
definitely. And you know what? It was a shake-up. It was one that nobody wanted, but we've done it and people have adapted. And I think we're all going to come out stronger. And certainly there's a couple of distributors that I'm quite close with that I speak to, fairly regularly. And it's just been great. It's brought us together and we've been able to share ideas and also, strengthen ourselves and strengthen our resolve and our confidence with what's going on with each other. And are we making the right decisions? Because for a while back there, all of us were calling decisions regularly just based on the best information we had at the time, because nobody really knew this was going. And okay, so I'm sure one of our industry was one of the first to be affected. It was just like lemmings dropping off a cliff.
It was. When it originally happened, it was like, hello.
Yeah. But but we've survived, and I think there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for that, and I think that's down to our individual teams within our individual businesses, but also the industry as well, because people have been sharing knowledge, people have been helping each other out, people have been bouncing ideas off each other.
That's true. Yeah.
And that to me just makes it all worthwhile, because the support's been there.
I think you can also, with everything, you can focus on the negatives of COVID. You don't have to be a genius to look at the negatives. You can write a book about it. But I think just put them to one side and think, how much have we gained? How much have we understood the world differently and doing things differently, and the skills we've had time to learn and everything. So I think if you just focus on the negative all the time, you're going to lose. But if you can really sort of at least see the positives and actually build on the positives as well, which it sounds like we're both doing. So it's I think that's massively important as well. So yeah. Cool. Just on the note of COVID, by the way, I was just going to ask you, what have you, when things do get back to normal, what have you missed most, and what type of things have you?
Barbecues, parties, friends and family,
social stuff, basically.
Yeah, all the good stuff. I actually had my first face-to-face meeting with a client this week.
All right.
It was great. Weird, because at the end we didn't shake hands because there was no physical contact and we were both masked. But do you know what? It was great not to see him via a screen.
Yeah. No offense to this, obviously. No, that's it. No, I can't wait to come in and get a Domino's pizza with you. And
but it was just good to do. It was good to get that sense of normality. And I think doing what we do, a lot of it is about building relationships. How well can you build a relationship through a screen?
Oh, true. So on that note, then, will you let me, being obviously your favourite rep in the industry, will you let me back in again?
Will you bring pizza?
Yeah, I'll bring pizza.
Yeah, let's do this.
Oh, good. Right. Okay. Yeah. So basically, same as me. Then you've just missed the social everything. Basically, just doing.
Oh, yeah.
It's so nice. It's weird. I was in a shop in Warrington on Saturday, and I said to Miss, it's really strange now. If I even hear it and walk somewhere and I hear a bit of an atmospheric beat in wherever I am, I was in Foot Locker or whatever, and it had a bit of a beat, and I was like, I feel like I'm out and about on today. It's tragic, absolutely. Maybe that's my age, actually. I'm not sure.
It could be a bit of both.
Yeah, it probably is.
I'm all in. No, I think everybody's desperate. I mean, sometimes rather than being in the back garden, I'd say to the kids, let's go and play on the front. Let's go and play on the front, because they're the people.
That's it. Yeah, no, true. It is the weird things we do just to have a bit of social interaction of any kind. Just playing with the kids, but we're waving hey.
Yeah, waving a bit. I mean, I can remember back in kind of March last year where everybody just shut the front doors, taking the bin out and seeing somebody down the road taking their bin out and being like, hi.
How's the bin going? All good, yeah. Right, I was going to ask you as well. Just obviously we touched on Triad a bit about obviously and you and what it is, obviously, working at Triad and everything else. But I was going to ask you in regards to working at Triad. I've discussed this, and I asked this sort of similar question on the podcast, is to work at Triad, would you say there's any one or two or three set rules you would say that, look, these are if you're going to work in our team, your non-negotiables really, this is what we
you've got to be a bit crazy.
Good. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. I think what we look for, because we are quite a family here, and a lot of the team have been here a long time, so it's really important when we're interviewing candidates. There's obviously their suitability for the role, but also, are they going to fit well within the team? Are they going to gel well? It's really important that trying to blend personalities and make sure that we remain a cohesive team. So we're always looking for somebody who's bright and bubbly, positive, willing, energetic, all of those things, really.
I think it goes back to the word you said before, a bit of passion in them, no matter what. If they're just new to the team, they don't know the industry, they've got a bit of drive and passion.
Exactly. Because I think surrounding yourself with those people does us all good.
True. No, definitely. 100%. Yeah.
So, and apart from that, like I said, you've definitely got to be a bit crazy here.
Yeah.
Nothing we won't do.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think, I'd fit in then, a bit crazy. I'd be all right to try, I'm sure.
I tell you what, kid, you'd be number one.
Number one crazy person. Right, okay. So, just to sort of like round things off a little bit, I wanted to just get really, if you got any bits of tips or advice you've been given in your life and you think, you know what, that really helped me. So like, in terms of best bits of advice you've been given. Yeah.
So, I mean, basically just to get your head down, work hard. So I've always worked hard, played hard, and just showing that care, consideration, passion, investing in your team, investing in the people around you, because it can become a very lonely place if you haven't got those people that have got your backs. Whereas we're lucky here, we are a really cohesive team. And the other thing I was told that is, when you're in the eye of the storm and you think that you can't go any further, you can. Just don't give up. Just keep going. Cool. Will come out the other side. I
like that, because I do think sometimes when you say right in the middle of it, you just feel like you can't see the other side. You have to. I think experience comes to tell you that you will. Things will get. You've ups and downs. Yeah.
It will always right itself. It will always resolve itself. It will always get better. It's just powering through and getting through those times when you think,
that's a mental health thing as well, isn't it?
Pardon?
I was just saying, that's a mental health thing as well, isn't it? Really, that's a key thing for mental health. I think people, it all just seems a little bit too much and whatever. And I think that is, if you can remind yourself that there is better and positive, experiences. Just get through this, we'll be all right. And I think that's really key, isn't it? It's not that simple. I'm not trying to, skip. But
it's not, and mental health's a really topical point, isn't it, at the moment? And I think there's been a lot of people affected by COVID. And again, even within our own small team, it's really important that we support each other, because whilst we're not all the same, you are able to empathise with people and you are able to listen.
100%. Yeah. We actually had it recently in a workshop we've just been doing in Laltex about culture and things like that. And one of the workshops we were speaking about is about obviously how to work with your team and get the best. And one of the things was, do you know what? Just speaking to people, even it could be back to what we said originally about, getting in a little bit earlier. If you get in early, get your stuff together. Your first bit of the morning can just be walking around and saying, how's everyone today? And having those connections and, showing empathy, that great word there. I think it and you don't even think it's anything. You think, was that even worth it? Sit back at your desk. But it is massively worth it. I think people don't realize, but that individual there would have thought, yeah, they care about it. I'm glad they asked about that day. I wanted to speak to someone. And two, it shows that they, as a manager, care about my individual circumstances.
I think we all impact each other's lives. Definitely. I mean, and the people when you're in the office, these people that you sit with 8 hours a day, you might spend more of your waking sitting hours with them than you do with your own family. So
I know, yeah. It's crazy. Really.
Yeah, it is. But it's important that they know that they're cared about. It's important that we know that they care. It's reciprocal. It works. It's a circle. It works all the way around.
Yeah, and I think that goes for people who try and go, if you're in an office with someone and say, oh, I'm done with them now. It's like, oh, well, good luck. You're going to see them for a hell of a lot of time. So I think it's about conflict and making sure you get on the other side of that as well. I think that's important as well. So yeah. Okay, cool. Right, last question I was going to give you, Nicki. This is a real sort of like hard-hitting question. It is, if you had a desert island film, what would it be and why, really?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. I've never seen Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, it is brilliant. So it's about this. I've not seen it for years.
I'm writing this down. Weekend at Bernie's.
Guys, Yeah, about these two young guys, and it's their boss, and he invites them. He's quite a wealthy guy, and he invites them out to his place to go and a weekend golfing and just living the high life. And he dies, but because they still want to go, they really want to, they kind of just make him look like he's still alive and wheel him round and just kind of drag him to places. And
who's in
like,
it?
Hey Bernie.
who's in this film? Who's in?
You know what? I'm going to have to Google it now because it's been so long and it's such an old film.
I was going to ask you, it is an old one, yeah.
Out for you.
By the way, I'm just joking. I'm guessing this is a comedy. Otherwise, it's a very sinister plot.
Oh, it is comedy. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is comedy.
I assume
that's me all over there. Apart from Line of Duty, I can't put that down.
Yeah, have you finished it, by the way?
No, I'm well behind the curve. I've only just started series 4. But it's
right, I'll say no more then. It's a great watch though. Yeah, I really enjoyed Line of Duty. Good. I feel like I wanted to say something then, but I'll just let you watch it. No spoilers here. Weekend at Bernie's. I'll have to.
Yeah, 1989.
The year I was born. There must have been a good one.
In the US box office, it took 30.2 million. Best film.
Right. Well, that is inspiration alone. I'm going to genuinely, next time I speak to you, I will have watched that film because, I'm very interested by that. So, right. Okay, Nicki. Unless there's anything else particularly wanted to touch on. No. Well, right. I just wanted to, again, thank you for your time today, really, because it's been really great. Obviously, find a little bit more about you. Obviously, the words you spoke about, like your passions and your the key things that are important to you, and how I think the key thing for me at the minute, because I'm sort of obviously like everyone really trying to make my way. It's good to hear the little tips about organisation and the reinforcing the things that I think I'm already sort of starting to see. But yeah, it's really useful to hear those again, and I hope it for anyone listening to this. The hundreds of millions of thousands of people listening. Obviously, I hope it is. Some good bits of advice in there for you to take away, and just lovely chatting to you as well, Nicki, and hearing your voice. It'd be hopefully not too long before I can actually meet in person and get back to the Domino's.
That'd be great.
Yeah, or a pub as well. I mean, that'd be even better. To be fair,
that would be even better.
Not that I don't love The Office and everything, but Right. Okay. Cool. On that note, thank you, Nicki, for your time, and just for everyone who's listening, thank you so much for your time as well, and for listening, and I hope it's been useful. And that is another Industry Insights podcast. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.